Hello and welcome back to another video on this channel. In today's devlog, I want to show you how I create new objects, including the shader graph in the Unity engine, with which I make the following cool wobbling effect on the water, because there were so many questions under all of my videos combined, which tool I use for that. So let's dive into that today and see with which cool objects I came up with at the end. So now we are in the Unity engine in the shader graph and we want to see how far we can come. You see there's the name crystal. I want to make the crystals for the crystal world. You see this is the purple side of our cube, and for that I thought on having a cool glow effect, which is from the bottom and the top controllable. Let's see how far we come. So at first I think I need some base color, or at least color for that, which should be HDR, because we want to have it glow with our bloom effect on the camera, or our volume profile if we want to be precise. And we want to have the top color, which is, I guess the good color for that is something purple. I hope you see that right now. And the bottom color should be something, I don't know, darker purple, I guess. But this should also be in HDR. Cool. Also, we want to control the positions on where these colors should start or end. So we have some line here. I think the top line is okay, and the bottom line. So I create a new float input property for the bottom line, and both of them should be within the range of 0 and 1. So the secret behind of basically all glow effects is the Fresnel effect, which kinda looks like this donut right here. And you can already see on how the glow works, as the center of the circle is basically without color, and as more as you get to the border of this, it gets more visible. So the key is we want to multiply this color with our, I would say, bottom color. Let's start with that, and then put that into our emission to see on how this comes out at the end. So we have this multiplied right here. Of course, this is not the bottom color actually, because it is just the complete UV, but it's okay. I want to show you how this is working. So we put the multiply into the emission and save that. So I just created a little sphere, and it still has the default material on that. And now I can drag the crystal material on that, and we can see it really glows. The whole UV is glowing. This is pretty cool, but as we can change the properties of our crystal material, you can see I can just increase the amount of HDR. You cannot see that because I have the wrong window in my recording, but I can increase the value right here with just one click in the color window, and you see it starts to glow more and more, and oh boy, this is glowing like hell. I turn it down again, and now you know how this is working. So back in shader graph, we want to, of course, control not the whole object itself. We want to make it a little more special, because you want to have more options to make the object with the shader a bit more detailed. And for that, of course, we need the UV node, because the UV node itself is pretty important to control the object itself. So for that, we want to get the green color channel. I get rid of this on the right to control the vertical axis, because we have the X, Y, and Z axis, and the G, the green, is mapped to the vertical Y-axis. So we use that because we want to go from the top to the bottom. And for that, we can multiply this with a little factor to have it not that steep. So I guess 1 or something smaller like 0.9 is totally fine for that. And with this foundation, we want to get the bottom part of that and the top part of that. And for that, we can have some kind of smooth step. But first, I take the 1- node to invert this. So you see this is basically the same, but just inverted. And for each of these, we want to have the smooth step. So we can input a little threshold, and with this threshold, we can say, hey, please ignore anything above or under this line, and can use this selected range to apply the color we want. So for that, please use the smooth stamp itself, and we want to say, hey, 0 is a little bit too bad. Let's say it's 0.1 for example, and for that we get the top part, and for that we want to have this controllable, so we use this top line, and we can input this here and can say, okay, this should default to 0.5, I guess. And now for the bottom part, we want to do the exact same with a smooth stamp, and we want to say, okay, we have the top line for that, and this could be, I think, 0.3, 0.4, something like this. And you see, this is now the exact opposite of the top one. I just clean this up a little bit. Nice. So we now want to apply the color we selected for the top or for the bottom color for both of these steps. And this is pretty easy because we already have the Fresnel effect and the bottom color. And now the clue is to multiply this color with this smooth step outcome. So we just use this we already got here for the bottom color, and now want to multiply this with our colored Fresnel effect, and you see, you get the bottom part colored. Nice. So now we can do the same thing for the upper part, and for that we just use the Fresnel effect like we have before and multiply this with our bottom color. I'm sorry, with the top color, because we have now the top area, and we use this to multiply as we did before with the bottom part with the top part. So we have a multiply again, and now multiply it with our already multiplied color. Nice. And now you see we have the top part colored, and now we have nothing more to do than just add both of these and apply that to the emission. Wow. I think this is really ugly. Is there something like just some easy... no. I thought there was some context menu which is called cleanup or something like that, and then it cleans up my mess here. Okay, so let's hope I did no mistakes, and let's see how this is looking in the scene view. Back in the scene view, and directly after recording the other part, I realized I forgot to connect this base color node to the base color in here. So this is now fixed, and you see we have our sphere right here, and we can now play a little around with the top line. Let's see if we drag this to, for example, 70. You see it starts to glow at the top, and with the bottom line it also appears. You see it on the bottom right corner here, that also from the bottom there's a lot of light. And if I say, hey, the color is a bit too bright, I do not want to have the white that crazy, I just can also reduce this color here, and you see now it's gray and the inside is also gray. I really enjoy playing around with this, and with this technique I can easily create some new and cool glowing crystals. Pretty nice. And I think that's it for this video, because it already is a pretty long one. I think the next video will be on how I create some objects and create the resulting objects, where I basically merge the shader graph from today with the objects and place it around the map, I guess. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, then please hit the like button. If you do not want to miss any updates on my game, then please hit the subscribe button, and we see us in the next video. Bye!